Welcome back to the European LCS Regional Playoffs live from Gamescom. It is time for Game 2. This is a best of 3 between Ninjas in Pyjamas and Gambit. And if the first match between these two teams is any indication, we're going to be in for an exciting back and forth match.
Yeah, and even though the game took a while to get going there, the fights were extremely close and very back and forth. Gambit's win, they still were only 22 kills and 20 deaths. And to touch on our Alex Each versus Bjergsen matchup as well, you know, Alex struggled a bit in the early game, but in those team fights, he really came in strong, 6-6 and 13.
Yeah, very good play by Alex, considering he was up against a melee assassin. You know, normally you'd see an AP champion. Orianna, to be fair, was probably about the most defensively as he could get, though.
Yeah, and Bjergsen took off at the start of the game, but then couldn't carry it home later on in team fights. Once it got to late game and he kind of built all of his damage, he fell off. So even though Bjergsen had the upper hand on Alex at the start of the game, Alex had the last laugh.
So would we put that down to that Guardian Angels? You questioned it when he was picked up.
I never saw it have a good use for him, in all honesty. He went in with it, maybe it helped him stay alive a bit longer, but that's not your goal on talent.
Your goal is to blow the team up, which he actually did do. The first two the big team fights, to turn into those Barons that they picked up. That's how it worked out for them, but instead, it was Gambit Gaming that turned that game around. So Ninjas in Pyjamas, the pressure they are under now. And of course, remember, we'll go back to the history of Ninjas in Pyjamas shortly because Champion Select is back underway. Lee Sin and Kassadin being taken away. Interesting, Kassadin ban against Alex Each. And again, Fizz taking off Bjergsen. They do not want to see that fish getting through.
Surprising too, they're just keeping him off as assassins. Even though they used 3 bans on Bjergsen last game, he was still one of their biggest problems. So obviously he's a tremendous player and force for this NIP team.
I'll see whether Zed sneaks through, but I've got a feeling Gambit will use that as their 3rd ban because we've seen NIP first picking Zed a number of times. So, final ban for Ninjas in Pyjamas right now. They're thinking about it, and it's actually Zach.
Yeah, that's the 3rd NIP ban as well, even though, so they had control of Zach last game.
So Shen or Zed, which way do they go?
Yeah, this is Gambit playing a game with them right now. It's funny how both of these guys, that's the smart pick.
Yeah.
Because both of these guys have actually played a fair amount of Zed. Alex Each is 1-4 on it, and despite Bjergsen's amazing reputation, he's only 2-2 on Zed as well.
I want to talk about NIP's game when they had Zed and Shen.
It was unreal.
It was insane.
Well, you can talk about it. Well, I only saw it.
I'm just wondering. I'm waiting to see whether Gambit actually go for it right now, because if they go for Thresh, they're going to have to maybe take the jungle, or they're going to have to take their Zed away, because I feel like NIP almost certainly will knock in that Zed.
Yeah, if NIP gets a chance at it, they're absolutely going for it. There's a chance that Gambit feels like they can deal with this. Banning the triple things against Bjergsen and then still giving him Zed, though, would feel very misguided, but they just, I feel like they're just going with MF and Thresh here, and they're giving it up to him.
And I'm questioning the Twisted Fate ban that does go in there. So MF has been locked in, so Genja really wanted that, despite having a great game on Cogmore in the last matchup. Is Zed going to get locked in here, or in Ninjas in Pyjamas, do they feel they're being baited into this one, maybe?
It's weird, because
baiting them into a really strong champion.
Yeah, I'm just kind of saying, like, I wonder, they've had so much success with it. Bjergsen hasn't necessarily shied off from it in the past. It was banned in the last game. It's almost like it's so perfect for Bjergsen to be like, how could they forget about this? That it then becomes a potential bait. Orianna is actually pretty good against Zed, and that is still on the board. So maybe that's a bit of hesitation that Bjergsen can have. I'm really not sure. They were a little confused about this themselves as well, taking a really long time to lock these last 2 picks in.
Definitely discussions. Maluna sat there waiting the instructions. What champion do you want me to lock in? Will he go for the job? And they're going to take the Aatrox away, and there is the Zed.
Yeah, that is the smart move for them right now, as well as having the Aatrox on their side this time. Because actually, Darian gave them a lot of problems with Aatrox in the previous game. That is a very scary lineup coming in from NIP thus far.
Very melee heavy though, so they've got to be careful they don't get torn into it with big crowd control from Gambit. They could be ready for this, you know.
Gambit could definitely be prepared here. They still have many picks to be able to come out now. I wonder what Darian is going to be going with here, because when he doesn't get Shen, and what most recently is his happy champion in Aatrox, he would just go in with a variety of different things, nothing more than 3 times other than Shen this entire season for Darian.
interesting to see Genja discussing it there. Recall Alexich and actually Darian and Diamond that were discussing at the All-Stars. Diamond was saying, you know, we missed Genja basically. We missed Genja on our team in the European All-Star team because he's the one that kind of decides the team comps for Gambit. So he's the one that seems to be giving the discussions out. Not a great deal of crowd control as we were maybe expecting. And let's talk about these quick picks here because Kale and it was Blues. Evelyn get locked in very quickly there, but Caitlyn and Zyra almost insta-locked.
Yeah, that's the happy lane for these guys. These long-range auto attacks across the board. And these teams, even though they started slow, they finished extremely fast. I really wonder about this Kale pick by Alex. Yes, you can shut down the death mark completely on anyone with Kale, but the team itself, I wonder if they have enough to hold themselves back about all the other onslaughts that NIP is able to throw at them, because everything on NIP is go in, and then they also have the Zyra to prevent maybe Diamond or Darian for diving in on them. It does seem like NIP picked a very melee heavy, maybe not too much AoE, but it's gonna take me the whole game really to get through these competitions, I'm not sure.
Yeah, there is a lot to go about this one. Talking about NIP, and of course, like we mentioned about the fact that they had this double ninja combo, I believe it was Meteor Makers it was up against. So I don't know how much are we overly reading into that. Meteor Makers, of course, finishing bottom of the league in the European LCS. They have been on a bit of a slide, but overall, it was a massacre. It was Bjergsen simply running around the map, and the problem was he was using that as the split push Z, which is probably what we'd expect from NIP here, and instead you'd normally see Shen split pushing, and this time, of course, he will be split pushing, but it's going to be two of them, because Stand United will get used.
Yeah, it's actually kind of the question of what's better. One person split pushing, like a Shen split pushing, you can ult into the team, or another person split pushing, and a Shen can join him. And specifically with Zed, the Zed Shen split push is much better with Zed split pushing. Shen is a tremendous asset just alone to the team. All they have to make sure of when they're running this one, maybe two split push combo is that the rest of their team has enough disengage and ability to not get dove on. And with Aatrox, Caitlyn, Zyra, it seems like they built a lot of it into their composition.
And what I want to draw on is the fact that I'm looking across at the summoner spells, not a single exhaust being picked up by Gambit.
No, they're completely banking on the fact that Alex can use Kale's intervention to stop the death marks. That has to be it. And then Aatrox, they might just try to kill him.
We'll see how it goes because we are now live for game 2. It is the European playoffs. It is the quarterfinals. The winner will be facing Lemon Dogs in the semi-finals. That will be tomorrow. And the loser, well, they're going to be facing off against Alternate in a playoff to see who will be in the relegation match. Not something that either of these teams will want. Of course, Gambit are 1-0 up. Ninjas and Pyjamas have to turn this tide around. And as it is right now, Gambit are the ones trying to set the trap.
Gambit set a couple big traps at the end of last game as well that really turned the tide on NAP. And you have to wonder, with all of Gambit's experience and savvy, whether they're just going to roll through in this second game because it really mattered. Because I can remember so many tournaments in the past where they'd kind of grind their way up into the finals and then just flip a switch and power through a team. And we could see something like that here.
Well, Diamond is the one doing the scouting here, stealthed out. Ninjas and Pyjamas wisely put a ward down in that river. That's going to spot out all of Gambit if they try to go for that late invade, which seemed they were thinking about. Genja and Voidal sticking around, so they're going to stay in that top lane, so it will be a 2v1 in both lanes.
I wonder how that 2v1 is actually going to work out for them though here, because having Thresh Misfortune is an incredibly powerful dueling combo if you get any type of catch on the Mimer. And Darian has tons of experience running 1v2 as Renekton. It's pretty much the thing that Gambit did all throughout the spring split. Seems like Gambit might have a bit of comfort in the laning phase at least.
Something actually we didn't mention is the fact that Darian's back on Renekton. It's pretty much a champion he universally played throughout the spring split to great success and effectively was pulling bans on that champion for a long period of time.
Yeah, and I wonder if within their boot camp, even though we didn't see it during Super Week, they just kind of went back to the things that used to work for them and, you know, reanalyzed why they stopped doing them. Because it's clearly Genja's made a split off of Varus and back to Misfortune. That's why we saw things getting banned and picked away for him. And maybe it's the same true for Darian. Passion, just go for Renekton. That's what you used to do. That's when it was working for them. Now they're back to it.
Defense and invade both Gambit and NIP stealing away each other's blue buff. Diamond Prox will be picking one up from just shortly after. Looks like Deficio is maybe just holding out his that defensive line. That has, of course, given Darian a bit of time on his own down that bottom lane, but yet to pick up any CS against Freeze. Freeze himself going to eat CS advantage in that top lane. We also seen in the top lane, as I was mentioning, Voidal doing a good zoning job on Mima, and of course this will start out very slow for both these single laners, but let's have a look in the mid lane. Because Bjergsen up against Alexic, we talked about it, you know, how the ultimates will effectively cancel each other out. It's not really, well, I mean, they're going to be looking at killing each other, let's not preface it, but they can counter each other out pretty well.
And it seems like Alex should have the edge in this lane for a while. He can keep his range on Bjergsen, and as long as he hits 6 before Bjergsen does, he's at no risk to that death mark. The risk he puts himself under, though, is how quickly he shoves the lane with this KO, and how aggressive he wants to be, and how that leaves him open to Maluno's potential ganks.
And it seems that Maluno is waiting in the wings, and he's biding his time. He's been here for a good 20 seconds or so. Bjergsen did try and engage, try and draw him in, but he's not getting fooled, and Alexic is actually going somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Maluno never showed himself. I don't really know what he was waiting for, because Alex was very far in here, and now, because there's no jungler threat in the top lane, there's 4 people. Good luck, Mima.
Good luck, Mima. It is a Shen. A Shen is a very dangerous thing to dive, and at the moment, surely they realize, surely I mentioned and said, guys, the mid lane is completely missing right now. You may be having visitors in that top lane. Here comes Diamond. He's going to get on towards Mima. The slow gets it in time. There's going to be the hate spikes. They are putting a lot of damage down. It's going to get caught out. The Ignite's there. They may get on towards Maluna as well. He has to use that dark path to jump away.
Gambit committed extremely hard to that one. It actually seemed like Mima had a bit of a running start, then taunted and flashed, but because he got hit by Alexic's slow before that flash went after, Gambit could pile on the end and get that first blood. Fantastic start for them.
Remember, of course, this is 3.10, so there's a lot of armor on that turret, so they're going to not quite be able to push that one down as quick as they'd like, I believe. It's more interesting is how much damage Bjergsen actually managed to give out on towards that middle turret. He has gained himself a level advantage, which means he will hit 6 before Alexic. That could be important.
Yeah, Alex now has to worry about that small window where Bjergsen's going to try to kill him. He got a reward for roaming up top lane, and he needs to make sure that he doesn't get punished for it.
So we'll see how it works out. Got himself the second Doran's ring and the boots. Meanwhile, Bjergsen went back and got himself Vampiric Scepter. Darian just holding off in this bottom lane. Darian comes down to help out, actually, to hold out that turret, and ironically takes a hell of a lot of damage. That turret taken very low, in fact, lower than Gambit took the top.
Yeah, well, you gotta think, Gambit spent a lot of time diving through the turret, denying and setting up for that, whereas Freeze and Deficio have pretty much just been wailing on that turret the entire time. Even so, they're gonna get this turret first, despite giving up the first play.
So Ninjas in Pyjamas, they start off, the turret goes down. Caitlyn for Freeze has been very successful. Before that, of course, it was Draven who he had massive success with until the changes came through. Ninjas in Pyjamas, though, they are pushing in, and they maybe will try and change the lanes around across. Maybe they could go for that early dragon. 6 minutes in, Diamond Prox is about to go face to face with Defrizio.
Yeah, this could be a very interesting moment in the game. Are they really thinking about trying this dragon so early? They're tanking it with plans, but Diamond knows exactly what's up, and Gambit is thinking about collapsing in, but there's a lot of NIP members there.
Yeah, Ninjas in Pyjamas, they are on the dragon. You can see the Gambit. Oh, it's actually going to be the Deathmark put on towards Diamond. He's going to dive in towards him. Deathmark will pop, but he's not going to get the kill. And now Darian turns the aggression around. Puts a lot of damage down on Bjergsen. Deficio also taking low. Alexic coming in the backside. That's going to be a dark path for Maluno to try and get away from this one. The NIP all backing away from this one. They did get the dragon down, but almost paid for it with their lives.
Wow, that is the risky play that they had to go and make. They're now way up on objective goal because they got the turret and the dragon, and not even dying for that, despite actually pulling Gambit down afterwards anyways, is a huge win.
So, Alexic, he gets back into farming in that mid lane. He has it lit. Level 6 intervention is available right now, and of course, level 6 for Bjergsen. Deathmark was just used out. Gets himself that blade, Blade of Root Geeks, what he's going to build towards a Cutlass has been picked up. So farm between the mid lanes, very even. Farm between the AD carries, very even. Diamond has been creating situations, as many as he can, Did almost pick himself up the kill there, but didn't get in there in time to take away that dragon from Ninjas in Pyjamas, while the top lanes, we did see the pressure in there, but Ninjas in Pyjamas, the pressure is in the mid lane, and now, after taking that bottom, they're pushing in.
Yeah, this objective-based game might be working very well for NIP, as long as Gambit doesn't take anything too strong right back at them. We still haven't even gotten to the point where Bjergsen starts going around and trying to assassinate people. If they get a lot of turrets going down early, it could work very well as they develop their split push strategy.
And it's the triple Doran's Blade, but this time looking at it against Freeze, how do you compare this one? The fact that he's gone Berserker Grieve and a Vampiric Scepter, now he's actually did he just go back and pick up that? No, he started out with Doran's Blade, I'm losing my marbles. But it's against the triple Doran's Blade for Genja.
Yeah, I like it for Freeze because honestly, Freeze has an extreme amount of experience on this Caitlyn champion, and it's been his by far most successful competitively. He knows that he needs those Berserker's Greaves to keep distance with Genja and kind of use his extended range as a big pole to keep Genja away. So no matter how much strength Genja can get with those 3 Doran's Blades, he shouldn't be able to out-trade Freeze.
So, talking about trades, these bottom lane right now, Darien is in there and he's up against Mima. Mima is way off in CS, it's 30 CS behind on Darien.
And that has a lot to do with the kill that Gambit was able to get on him beforehand. It really set him back. He burned his flash while dying, while Darien kind of gave up the turret at the expense of the farm. Now he's going to try to convert this into some type of lane advantage.
And Darien ready and waiting for that Shadow Dash to come across, but Mima never actually pulled the trigger. Maluna was lingering around there. I've still wondered about the partnership that Maluna and Mima have, because Maluna and Inextinct, they worked so well together. Of course, they were teammates back in Curse EU for so long, and as soon as that happened, it seemed to be just a great synergy. I don't feel it's quite there yet for Maluna, Mima, and of course Bjergsen as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not there. I feel like the Maluna-Bjergsen synergy is still well and good, but it's more predictable now because you can't just, it's not an equal amount of threat, so Gambit's more able to react to Bjergsen coming into the mid lane.
So Maluna has taken away the turret that is down the mid lane. Of course, the pressure was put there by Bjergsen when Alexic went missing. When he got missing, he went looking for the kill in the top lane. He didn't miss at all, he got the assist. But this top lane, that's where the pressure now seems to be. It's a duo lane. We haven't seen these two go aggressive against one another just yet, although Freeze taking some damage from Genja. Genja's one of those champions or one of those players that prefers to use his AD carries as effectively a mage.
He loves to just sit at the back with Misfortune and just fire his bullet time. And Diamond is trying to get involved in this one yet again, but he's not coming around the side with this Eve. They're thinking of a brute force turret dive. It could backfire though. Maluno waiting in the wings.
He gets spotted out by the plant. Will it be enough? I tell you, it's his own plant. He walks across. Maluna's going to get taken low. Stand United coming out though. So he's going to get across. The Bloodwell pops out there. Medusi, Mima coming in. They're going to try and keep on chasing here. One kill. Binam came down for Maluna on towards Genja. Genja's Diamond procs and Voidal trying to get away from this one. Maluna nearly got turned on there by Diamond. Bjergsen, he's going to come up the side there. Will he dive in? He's got Deathmark available. He goes in towards Voidal. That's going to pop him down. No problem there for Bjergsen.
And Gambit needs to have some kind of answer for that. That was a failed dive because it was completely countered out by Maluno. Bjergsen then came up, and Alex has to answer by pressing this mid turret fast.
Well, Stand United was also cancelled out in that bottom lane. I believe Darien is it. Darien's just used his ultimate in that bottom lane actually to put pressure on towards Mima. He really is bullying out this lane quite heavily.
And he might actually look to try to make more happen, but you can bully as hard as you want. The shield still benefited that top lane fight, and Darien did directly punish. He's been that far up in CS ever since Mima entered that lane, and until Darien either takes that turret, kills Mima, or starts creating some other type of pressure in that bottom lane, Mimer's doing a great job surviving despite his terrible start.
Now Bjergsen with that Blade of the Rune King is going to be looking at getting those single champion pops on towards someone like Genja. Alexic, meanwhile, he's doing sort of that matches he's building up towards. See whether he gets that one locked out quickly. Maluno, look at this. He wants to get around that map quickly. It seems to be working for him so far. Boots and mobility, and it is Maluno that's heading on towards that top lane once again.
Yeah, he's had a lot of success looking up there. He's doing the same build Aranea did early on, at least with boots and mobility and double Dorans, taking advantage of his incredible Aatrox sustain early on in lane. Except he's not farming nearly as much. He's doing more time trying to patiently wait in lanes. It's been hit or miss for him though. Maluno set himself back a fair bit early when he sat in mid, but he got a huge reward the last time he sat around top.
On the reverse side, Bjergsen hasn't got boots at all, which is actually something we saw him do on Talon as well. Took him a while to get those boots out there as well, I believe. Top lane, no, Genja taking a Piltover to the face, and he's just going to continue that farm. He's doing a good job at farming, actually. Both these two AD carries are keeping check with one another in this bottom lane. Well, Darien doing as good a job as he can to try and starve Mima of any of that CS. Some fight game almost completed by Darien. Meanwhile, Mima also on the same path. So despite the fact, of course, he has been out starved, he did get the assist because he used that ulti earlier. Yeah,
because we talk about Mima being really far behind because that's what it looked like. But in gold, he's about 100 back, and he's only down boots to Darien. So in experience, he's a little bit down, but as far as his place in the game, he's doing all right.
Rangers in Pyjamas going in for Dragon here this time around. Can they lock it out? Looks like Diamond's going to not get close to this one. In fact, Gambit, well, Darien using that ultimate. Ooh, Death Sensor's not going to land, and looks like NIP are going to successfully back away from that one.
And it's all those objectives that have given Mima the extra gold here. That's the second Dragon NIP's been able to take. They're up 2 turrets to 0, and Gambit just hasn't had a direct answer to those things yet. Timing has just been a little bit off because I feel like Gambit has wanted to fight in those dragon areas, but NIP's actually just snuck 2 dragons in a row.
Yeah, just taking it down. Actually pretty quick dragons as well, because we're only just coming up to the 14-minute mark. We haven't even seen a dragon in game 1, I don't think, around that mark. Of course, it was a much slower paced game. Ninjas in Pyjamas are the ones, once again, pushing the pace of this match. They've taken the 2 turrets. They've got themselves around about 2,000 gold lead. And Gambit, they seem happy to just continue farming in lane. Nobody really making any movements to get out of there. Diamond's been the one that's tried to create something, but again, just like game 1, hasn't really worked.
Yeah, at least he has the 1 kill this time, but you're absolutely right about this. I don't know if Gambit can wait around this time, though. It's not like they have a Kog'Maw waiting to get crazy. They have Genja, who has misfortune, has a good mid-game spike, but isn't the same type of late-game carry as Caitlyn, which is what Freeze is going to be commanding here. Gambit did get a turret back, which is nice. They need a lot more.
Meluna was coming in towards that bottom lane. Darien does just slice and dice away. Doesn't want to get caught out. That was their first turret of the game for Gambit. Now we see Diamond. He's heading in towards the top lane again. Darien's stuck around in this bottom lane, which seems a little bit crazy. It does, of course, cost him his own life.
No reason to stick around there. Darien. You're right about that being crazy. That's a Darien being Darien in some cases. Sometimes it works out for him because he's crazily aggressive and he does foolish things. Sometimes people call him on his bluffs, and then he looks foolish.
He looked a little foolish there. Diamond is still sticking around. He's been in that tri-bush for a hell of a long time, and that ward has sniffed him out every single time, and he's still here.
Trying again and again. Maybe he could get something to go this time. He's getting pretty close to Freeze. Freeze does have all his summoner spells up, and he hits a trap.
Hits a trap. Freeze just like, yep, no, you're there. I see you. They have that tower still in that top lane, despite the fact they went for that 4-minute fast push. Didn't manage to get it down, but look at this. It's a blue buff invade for an NIP. There's nothing actually there right now. It may be another Darien game.
They could be waiting in the wings for him. They could get him as he's running back towards the lane. Darien's got to hug that side right now, which is a smart thing to do. And it was a move by NIP where they're trying to get a quick payoff because they just caught Diamond in the top lane, so they knew they wouldn't be outnumbered in that fight. But Darien played it safe for a brief moment, then just decided to go all the way in.
Well, sometimes it works. Like you said, Darien is Darien. He will have his moments in these games where often it will work out, and he's going to continue farming in that bottom lane. And even his own team said that sometimes. It's like, well, you just got to hope he doesn't feed the opposition too often, and sometimes it works wonders for him. But NIP, for taking down those original couple of turrets, that's a lot of damage on Meluna there from Alex Ich. Diamond looks like he could sense blood there and went straight in towards Meluna. Bjergsen keeping him at bay.
Still didn't manage to burn any summoner spells out of Meluna though, and it's a 2-0 Aatrox, so they actually want to get some of that shutdown gold on him fairly shortly. Considering there's been so many objectives taken by NAP, the gold in this game is actually pretty close. It's because everyone on Gambit is farming very well.
It's something they actually do. I mean, we often notice it, even when they can go like 10 kills behind, they'll still keep up there with the gold, generally because they outfarm the lanes. You can see obviously the top lane, Darien and Mima, they've got that big advantage. We talked about it earlier on because Mima got seized out there, but it's actually stretching. It's up to 50 CS now.
Yeah, it's just growing and growing here. Even though Freeze had those early Berserker groups that we thought would keep Genja at bay, but it just hasn't been the case. I'd say Diamond helped out a little bit by showing top multiple times as Eve, it's still mainly in the performance of Genja and Voidal though.
There's a battle of postures in that mid lane. Gambit looking to go creative, but instead it's going to be Alexic that gets dived on, using that intervention to cut out the death mark. This is what we talked about, the cancellation of it. But Mima comes in, Shadow Dash gets in there. He does take down Diamond. Now he's going to get turned on though. Mima is going to go down. Maluna was very low in that. It was a 1-for-1 trade, top laner for jungle.
I think Mima was rather shocked at how fast Alex and Darian were able to take him down after he'd gotten the kill. 1-for-1 initiated by NIP. I actually feel like that makes Gambit feel fairly confident because they got a little bit surprised there and then still got the turnaround kill fairly quickly on a very seemingly tanky Shen with the Sunfire Cave.
Yeah, because, I mean, overall, Maluna and Bjergsen both almost went down. That was almost a triple kill for Gambit there. They do take themselves a tower. It's the second of the game, and Darian, well, he continues to be a pain. He's the pressure. As the ace in the hole landed on Genja, the shield did come out, but just a little bit too late from Voidal. And the farming continues between these two AD carries. The bottom lane, Alexic, look at this. He's trying to do a split push. Maybe this is a sign of the future. Is it going to be Alexic split push now, or would it be Darian?
I feel like it's Alexic who's going to be the answer to Bjergsen. If Bjergsen's the one split pushing, if Mimer's the one split pushing, they're going to send Darian. I think that's their two options. The only thing Alex will have to be worried about is the double ninja split push when Shen comes in on the back of Bjergsen. I don't know if he's going to be able to deal with that one.
Freeze going for a different build here. I'm seeing what he's going to head towards. The fact that he went for that pickaxe early on. He is about to go back and buy, so we'll soon see what exactly that is. Looks like Last Whisper's going to get picked up by Bjergsen. Again, he's just got himself these pickaxe and his boots, the first boots of the game for him. Triple Thorns was picked up by Genji, but he's now got that Bloodthirster completed, so he'll start stacking that one out and Freeze waiting to see what he's going to get. Instead, he didn't back. He just cancelled it, just to catch me out.
May as well. Looks like Freeze is going to be able to get that turret as well, just sticking around so long in the lane. He's sitting on 2,800 gold. That was a battle, or a starvation battle in the top lane, but because he's stuck around for that turret, Gambit gets to sneak a dragon of their own and really bring back some of that gold.
Genja there. Getting chased out by Bjergsen, using that living shadow to close the gap. Finally Freeze is back in the back off. He could get himself a Infinity Edge, but I think it's going to be a Blade of the Ruined King. It is an Infinity Edge, right in there.
That's more the Caitlyn thing to do, I think. Blade of the Ruined King is definitely more for the people who like to think about assassinating, and that's definitely not Caitlyn's game. Still would have been maybe worthwhile because Darian's going to be such a big deal going in for him. I like the choice of Infinity Edge over Blade.
So let's have a look across the lanes. Genja continued to keep a little bit of a CS advantage. He hasn't got the gold advantage over Darian, taking some burst there from Bjergsen in that top lane. He's now switched, rotated himself up there. Got to be careful when Luna doesn't close the gap. He's also got Deficio actually coming up there as well. So Genja is still pretty close though. He's only at the golems. We'll see whether he goes for it.
They're definitely trying to beat Darian right now because they know he's going to be able to go aggressive. And they're just chasing him down.
There's going to be the death mark, but it's straight into a bullet time. Bjergsen's going to get dropped down here. Stan United's going to have to come out. Now Darian is going to try and get away. The Darkflight comes out, but Maluno's taken low as well. Mima gets in. He does manage to take Darian down, but look at the river coming up there. It's going to be Deficio and Alexic. Can they get the slowdown? Can they catch up towards it? It's Mima he went for. Shadow Dash came in. A great strangle force to stop that and to counter-attack dead.
That was a very close exchange. Now I wonder how strong this Gambit push can be afterwards. This turret is extremely low. It's basically given to them. They need to actually rotate and deal with Freeze's push middle.
That's going to be the top turret. Like you say, there is Freeze pushing in. Remember, he just picked up that Infinity Edge. He's going to put a lot of damage onto this turret if he stays around. The fact that Diamond had faded away from that fight means he's going to back straight off there. Checks out the blue buff, but it's not going to be there. This is still very close. 400 gold separates the two teams.
I'd say these teams are fairly closely matched. As you would see with a 4-5 matchup, they had the same record during the regular season. They had to play the tiebreakers against each other to see who would get choice of side. And then all of their games have been, at least the last two, have been absurdly close so far where games go.
And to be fair, in Instant Pyjamas, they came out of the ashes effectively because the Copenhagen Wolves is what they started out as way back in Poland, of course, when they qualified. We heard it from Deficio himself. There was a few choice words for Bjergsen in that mid lane when he qualified.
It's like, Bjergsen something?
Yeah, we're not going to say it.
Bjergsen, one of those things? Oh no!
Oh, well, Alex Inch, he's used the intervention, and actually he's going to chase on towards Bjergsen. Bjergsen's going to get caught out. He's no way he's going to turn this one around. It's an easy kill for Alex.
Alex said the same thing to Bjergsen right there as he tried to 1v1 because he has Kale at this point and he knows how to deal with Zed.
Absolutely knew exactly what he was doing. Genji's going to get some time towards this turret. The rest of the team coming around there. Darren's going to be careful. He doesn't get locked down by the plants from Divicio. Dark Passage is thrown out there, and Voidal will help them back away from this one. While this is all happening, of course, Alex Inch, he's continuing to push down that bottom lane.
And this is going to get very tense for NIP right now. They basically have to collapse down on Alex, and that's what Alex was expecting. I think they were going to try to head them off in the jungle for a fight. He's going to go right back to pushing the turret.
Yeah, I believe Diamond peeled around, spotted them actually not really coming down there, so Alex just told, stick in that bottom turret, you have enough to take it down, and that's just Tooth and Sheen doing work, and that is going to be an inner turret for Gambit.
Yeah, that was a great play by Alex, and it's becoming clear now as Gambit has finally pulled ahead in this game and Alex can get away from here. Why they left the door wide open for the Zed pick and said, Bjergsen, bring it here, because Alex has wanted to play kill this whole time. He recognizes how well he can handle Bjergsen 1v1 in these split push situations, as it just became a stronger split push for himself.
Yes.
We have to see if that continues for Alex, because if it does, it was a great bait.
Alex just picked up a Lich Bane.
That's gonna hurt Bjergsen a lot.
It's definitely gonna hurt, and that's gonna take the towers down very quickly as well. So he's gonna be definitely split pushing. He's already up to level 17 to Bjergsen's 14. So that's a huge difference for two mid laners. And of course that is down to the pure fact that Alex has been off split pushing for quite a while now. He's gonna be hitting level 18 very soon. That's gonna put a 4-level differential between him and Bjergsen. There's nobody on that team that can stop Alex right now.
No, and I'm really liking what I see from Gambit in this game, because they had so many struggles in this last split, but this is reminiscent to me of the type of Gambit we saw at IM Katowice when they beat CJ and his Blaze and Frost like back-to-back. They're doing all the same playstyle things they used to do. You look up from your screen, you realize Alex Each is 50 or 60 farm ahead of the rest of the team, because the team is channeling all their free lane farm into him. Darian is just off being an annoying tank, distracting, allowing Alex to farm. And then Genja is on misfortune. That's just what Gambit used to do when they were successful. And I feel like they called back to that stuff during their boot camp to try to make this run.
Seems to have worked. Bjergsen back in towards that bottom lane, trying to counter everything that Gambit are pushing. And I was mentioning their history, of course. They were the Copenhagen Wolves. They were 0-9 in the spring split. NIP know what it takes to come back from these situations. They've had to battle when Bjergsen joined the team. Of course, they've had a bunch of changes since then. Of course, we saw the top laners changing twice in the summer season. Yeah, Sting came in, now Miner. The junglers changed around as well. Maluna came in, replacing off Sven Skerren, who was famous for being interrupting as Freak was putting it back in the spring. And of course the AD carry changed around. The Tess used to be in there, but Freeze, since Freeze joined, actually has formed a really good relationship with Division out there.
Yeah, Freeze is actually 13-9 since joining us, as the rest of the bunch will join mid-split, so they've definitely overcome a bit of adversity already, and they need to do a bit more now. Down 1-0 in this playoff game and trying to make this split push happen top, whereas Alex is just kind of trading it, going bottom himself.
Well, this is the double ninja push that we were talking about at the start. This is how it works out, because you can't stop you. You have to effectively send your team there. But the fact that Alex has got so strong, he's actually got a 6-level advantage over Diamond right now. Diamond's only at level 12 towards the jungler, because Alex is just way ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, Diamond's actually fallen farther behind than he typically does on the jungler. He's even a level behind Maluna, which is fairly rare back in the day when the Diamond would fall behind, because he was such a ferocious counter jungle, but it just hasn't worked out in this game because they've been giving so much of the farm to Alex.
And I feel that Diamond actually has struggled out this whole season. Certainly season 3. He's been struggling to find his main champion. I mean, he discovered a couple, of course, don't forget. He pulled out Nasus and Volibear in the spring, but in the summer, it's not really worked out for him. He's tried Udyr a couple of times, it's really worked out. Of course, I know you're a big fan of it yourself, but it didn't really work out for him. Well, he went 3-2, but every time he just got countered so heavily. He's tried Evelyn a lot of times actually this split. Sometimes it works, is what I mentioned. Sometimes it works out very well. Death by Grasping just worked out. So
Yeah.
He's going to be looking to pop people.
He's only been 2 and 4 on Eve, as you say, and I think it's very telling that Jarvan was his most played this split, because it just shows, like, clearly he's not a Jarvan main. Like, that's not his champion. But because he didn't have anything else, he played a lot of Jarvan. And he did this Deathfire Grass thing last game as well, if not a little later, but he must have really liked it because he's going to go, and I actually haven't seen him flanking that much in any of these team fights, but he's going to try to make that play with the LCS reset.
Darian, is that a double click? What's he carrying there? Double chain vest.
One's for the GA, the other's for the second Sunfire.
Planning ahead.
I don't know.
Not sure if that was a double click, but look, the split push continues from Bjergsen. He's actually starting to get those levels going now, and he's going to start becoming a pain. They're going to have to deal with him. They have to start countering him. You can see he's just going to back off there, realize the rest of Gambit closing in towards him. He should get away from this one. Alex will know straight towards that bush, but I don't expect he will go for him. No, he's just going to back off. And this is going to keep it in a 4v4. So let's look at these two teams in that 4v4 cluster.
Yeah, so assuming that Zed and Kale are completely out of this one, it's a tough team fight for both teams. I'd actually say Gambit would have a slight edge because they get a soft initiation from Diamond, and then if Darian can lock anyone down, that means Genja will be able to finish him off with the bullet time. Whereas if you look at Frost to NIP, they essentially have to go in straight with the flash taunt and then don't really have any type of AoE damage if they get into one of those big fights.
Genja off on that top lane farming, so NIP realize they have an advantage in numbers in the mid lane. They may try and push this one down in towards that inner turret. Instead, just going to hang around. They may try to catch up towards Darian. The grasping roots do get in there. The dead sentence thrown out from Voidler, but Darian just turns it back around and goes aggressive. He was in a 4v2 there.
That's one way of turning it around, is pretend like you have more people there, because they didn't, NRB didn't know that Genja was farming wraiths. Darian did, and he decided to go in anyway, and that's what scared him off.
Call my bluffs, seems to be what it was. Bjergsen down that bottom lane, seeing if he can push him, but he doesn't want to go too far. So this tells me that Bjergsen is very nervous about facing Alex.
And he should be, because he can't kill him. And Alex has so much damage. Bjergsen as a Zed is not going to itemize magic resistance. That's not how you play him as a full assassin. It's almost like Bjergsen's priorities might have to change a little bit. Like he's trying to stall a little bit with his split push, but he can't go ahead and actually do it because Alex will just kill him. Well, Bjergsen needs to find teamfights where he can get Genja.
He just picked himself about Rabadon's team cap. He's up to 340 CS, 20, just coming up to the 30-minute mark. He's decimating everything. And the jungle, the lane, the players, 2-0 up. He's just plowing through, double buffed up. Now he's heading down to the bottom here. If Bjergsen sticks around, we may well see them duel.
Ooh, all Alex has to do is have a bit of patience, or just charge him. One of those two.
Oh wow, Bjergsen's going aggressive. Intervention being used there by Alex Sinch. A lot of damage coming down, forces the flash out. Wow! And it's Alex Sinch that turns it around.
That was through Stands United. That was the double ninja attack, and Alex completely pushed it back.
Wow, Diamond was just coming around to help out there. So I'm here to cover you. Meanwhile, Darian, he's on his own again in the mid lane. 3v1, and he's just still pushing.
I have to say though, that was a surprising amount of damage from Bjergsen. Pre-intervention from Alex. That fight could be close throughout the game.
That's a good shadow dash from Mima on towards Genja, and he's not too worried about this one. Remember the Bloodthirster, he's getting that lifesteal back. Mima's in trouble here. There's a big group of minions. He's waiting for Freeze to come around the side. He will not get the final kill. Voidle comes in. Genja does manage to pick up the kill, and now Voidle tries to lock down that AD carry. Buys time for Darian to come across. Pull it time. He straps it down, and it's Darian that picks up the kill. Stranglebolt wasn't going to be enough to beat you.
And Gambit really turned the tides on this game now. 3 people dead for NIP, everyone alive for Gambit, and they're going to try to rush down this Baron before Maluno can get there to smite it away.
More importantly, Stranglebolt was just used, so there's nothing to interrupt Gambit right now. Usually could come in, but it'd be suicide for him. Maluno was thinking of getting close, but that is a nice, easy Baron for Gambit.
And it was all set up by awesome team fights, teamwork. Watch how Genja barely ticks out Mimir there with the last little bit of dot damage, and then Freeze really feels like he can get Voidle now, but everyone collapses in at just the right moment. Darian then stuns Freeze within the bullet time, just in time for Genja to flash over the wall. Everything worked out for Gambit.
Everything in perfect combination. So, Gambit, they are in the driving seat. They have the Baron on. Split push has been working. Alex Sinch has already proved that he can take down Bjergsen and effectively Mima's giant shield. Bjergsen not too sure what he was waiting on the timer there. He was trying to give the red buff across, but instead he has to react because Gambit, they're pushing straight up mid.
Yeah, he was delaying that until Bjergsen got confident in his solo ability that he wanted to give it to Freeze, because Bjergsen might be transitioning to the team fight mode right now, which isn't necessarily the best mode in the game for Zed. Gambit with the Baron buff and a very tanky variant, still sitting on those double chain vests. Who cares? Pushing up that turn.
And the Warmox was picked up as well. Along with that Sunfire Cape he's had alongside Ninja Tabby, fully against this armor penetration builds of NIP, and not a lot working on Darien right now. That Infinity Edge and Last Whisper of Freeze didn't seem to dent it.
And once his Renekton ultimate is up, they might just go in. But Alex could just kill him first before it starts.
Maluno just getting melted. There's going to be the bullet time coming across. Mima tries to get in there, but he just gets melted in seconds. That's going to be the inhibitor to it. Gambit are just demolishing these Pyjamas here. They've turned the switch.
They had so much damage in that fight, and NIP did not have an answer. You can see Maluno has not had the ability to tank up yet, and no one right now can tank through what Alex each is dishing out. This is an amazing point in the game for Gambit. It's only 6,000 gold, but that looked like a lot more.
That looked like a hell of a lot more, and of course with the Baron up, that's going to be another 1,000 gold swinging in towards Gambit. Everybody goes back to buy. Guardian Angel picked up by Genja. He is now in perfect normal mode. That's his happy time three item build right there, because he is simply in a great place. Let's have a look across who else is going to go back and buy. We're seeing Alex going back. What's he going to buy now? I mean, what's he going to stick in there?
More damage.
Void Staff, of course.
That is just rude. I mean, he's also, people forget that Kayle shreds with her passive as well. 3% armor and magic resistance for every stack of that passive. So when he adds that to the Void Staff and the Sorcerer's Shoes, the very little magic resist that NIP has been able to get already becomes even more ineffective. It is an amazingly powerful Alex, and I still have to credit Gambit again for that Kayle pick. Even the door so wide open. Oh dear. Chew that Zed pick was great.
Well, Boiler gets popped off the side. Remember, Gambit still actually have a minute on this Baron. And they are back on the side, Minotaur is going down, but NIP looking to try and press on towards them there, but no, Mima's going to have to dash away from the swap. Bjergsen just one around the side, on towards Alex Ich. Does a very good combo on him there.
But I still feel like Gambit can fight this. There is no Zed ult, and there's still a strong force.
Stranglethorn separates them, he pops Diamond in the air, but Darien is just taking all that front-loaded damage. Alex Ich is actually not really interested in this fight. He's waiting in the wings, and will just force Gambit to back away.
Fairly interesting choice there from Gambit, because I think they could have opted into a risky team fight, and if they'd lost it, it would have given NIP a lot of control back in the game. But since they were down Voidal, thanks to him getting caught in the mid lane, even though I think Gambit could have won that fight, they actually opted for the safe option, knowing this win puts them into Season 4. And yeah, this is just the catch on the Voidal. Bjergsen caught him with an ultimate, the little combo there. There was nothing.
Yeah, that was, I mean,
aside from not be there in the first place.
He was just warding. It's the classic support excuse. I was just getting down there to get my ward done, guys, don't worry. Blue buff will go across towards Alex Ich, and the Dragon was already taken, so they're just going to motor on down towards his bottom lane. So waves are all pushed in, inner towers all down. Next focus is the inhibitor. Question is whether Gambit now have that siege potential, whether they can break through NIP's defense.
So we had the exact same situation the last game, with the mid inhibitor being down, while the bottom inhibitor was being sieged by the team that was ahead. And in that game, NIP overdove and it cued the Gambit comeback. Gambit knows that because they were in the game and they don't want to make the same mistake of overdiving, but they still want to get this. They might be strong.
Don't count out Darien. We'll just go in regardless.
Thornmail as well now with one of those chain vests. That's going to make it very difficult for Freeze to get Renekton off of him, while the rest of Gambit just kills basically the tanks, is I feel like how these fights go.
I feel that Diamond's actually building towards a Guardian Angel as well. See, Genja's already picked one up of his own. And NIP, strong defense, but there's a big minion wave on that top, and look at Diamond. Diamond's actually pushing around the mid. He's going to get spotted out by a pink ward though. He's trying to come around the side. DFG on towards the Officio. Bullet time comes through. He gets interrupted. Genja hits Guardian Angel's pops, but Alex Ich has gone down. Mima's chance Staladas is going to try and catch him out there, but Mima's going to get dropped down. Darien doing work. He's tanky, but not that tanky. And that's going to be Bjergsen cleaning house along with Freeze. And we talked about it in game one. You just mentioned it there, how the siege didn't work out for NIP and Gambit got themselves back into it. Have Gambit just made the same mistake?
That was so close. Watch how Alex gets bursted down. It was a taunt into death. Meimer used the taunt flash in combo with Bjergsen, and that's the way NIP was able to start this fight. With Alex gone, they had the edge. They just out-damaged them throughout the rest of the fight.
But blue buff taken away, Baron up in 1 minute. Everybody on Gambit will be up in time. So NIP successfully defend the turret. Remember, they did take down the middle inhibitor. Super minions were coming down there, but that has all been cleaned out. Maluno eating up that gold, of course, and that's going to help him out because he was falling behind. Getting himself ahead of Diamondbox now, continuing that farm. 4-0, 3 by now.
Yeah, that's a very good score for H-Rock. He's now trying to bump himself up a little bit more, knowing he needs to be a supplemental damage threat since all of their single target damage from Bjergsen, if they don't get a perfect fight, is somewhat negated by Alex's intervention. They have to be able to threaten multiple targets very strongly. And just to even add on to that, Freeze's damage right now is actually very subpar until he can cut these barriers. All the more reason for Maluno to keep left far.
So, Ninjas in Pyjamas, they're feeling a little bit sure of themselves, and Bjergsen actually trying to get him towards Alex Teach. This is a straight engage. Alex Teach is going to get dived on. Did manage to get his ultimate out. Intervention wasn't even used there, and he gets dropped by Bjergsen. Now Genja's going to get focused on. He gets dropped. This is going to be Ninjas in Pyjamas surely coming out on top. Voidal off the side there. He's having to run away. There's a lot of damage still from Gambit. They have to be careful because NIP are all low, but it's a 2-for-0 once again.
And as long as Meimer can land taunts onto Alex each, the double ninja combo will work. Alex went full offense up until about a second ago, where he realizes he might need that guardian angel because 2 fights in a row, him not getting off intervention and getting hit by taunts, have cost them the fights.
Darien has no cares. He's still pushing down that mid lane. He wants to get the inhibitor.
May as well. There's only 5 members of the enemy team to stop him. I don't think it's gonna get it. This is just that fight once again. Watch Meimer turn right onto Alex and how Bjergsen was around the back. As soon as that happens, the fight is essentially decided. Alex needs to sit much farther in the back of this fight.
Now Bjergsen didn't use the death mark on him. Didn't need to.
No.
He used the death mark on Genja, and Genja got popped by that death mark. So Bjergsen really doing a great job along with Meimer there. Meimer, who actually was punished so heavily, he's almost 150 years behind Darien, but kept himself in the game.
Yeah, at this point, he's only in for a taunt. And look at the flank, 2v whatever.
That's going to be Guardian Angel used, but now Diamondbox is going to get dropped. He's going to pop back out of this one. It's effectively useless, and Bjergsen picks himself up another kill.
Yeah, but they finished off Freeze in this one, so very effective kills here. I gotta say, I wasn't expecting that. I was very surprised by their flank around the back. We were amongst all of this. It's now Gambit with a power play because Alex still has all his stuff up. And as long as he doesn't get caught in a taunt, Gambit will win these fights.
They all get slowed up. Darien is going to get healed, but Alex just heals to about 450 there. Point heal on Darien effectively didn't move it because he's got a lot of hit points. Red Bull being picked up by Alex Hitch. Everybody on the team backs off. Everybody buys. Everybody gets themselves stacked up. We're starting to build into scary times, Jack. Everybody's starting to get those full item builds. There's a lot of full item builds already. How is this looking? Because these team fights are very close, and I don't think this gold differential of about 6,000 really tells the story.
No, not at all, because so much of these fights revolve around very brief decisions and shentons at this point. Because Alex is built so squishy and because he's such a reactionary counter to Bjergsen's damage, the fights are just immensely swingy by nature. Yes, NIP has won the last 2. That doesn't mean that they can continue to win them if Alex each gets the right combination off and he can just auto-attack a few times in a team fight with this amazingly farm Kale build. This is an incredibly tense situation since the later we go into the games, the longer the death timers become, and the next fight could very well mean a Nexus if it's a clean sweep.
Bjergsen stands and waits. Gambit not actually falling for this one. Remember that inhibitor is exposed, and Ninjas in Pyjamas starting to push around. They may come dashing out the side. Meimer chooses against this one. They're going to come behind Gambit. No, they're not. They're going to have to back away, and it's going to be Gambit with the inhibitor.
They could not make it through that jungle. Darien would have cut them off. They would have had no access to Alex Siege. This is a tactical outplay. Now they're going to try to get through him. We need to watch for Alex. Can he stay safe?
Can Voidal stay safe? He gets dropped. So that's going to be Meimer, though. He's going to get popped in there. Intervention on Alex. It's already been used, but it's a bullet time coming out. Alex gets dropped so quickly. Maluno is going to go down. The Guardian Angel Darian trying to jump away
Freeze
from
is
this one.
wrecking.
Genja is getting back up, and he's taken straight down. Freeze is indeed wrecking them. Diamond Prox has to run away, and it's NIP on top once again, 3 for 2.
And these fights are just so explosive. We can see it there. NIP fighting them off one more time there. That fight was a little bit too crazy to follow.
Yeah, that
Let's
was
try.
spread.
The big thing here, let's see. Alex does get taunted, but it's basically a giant cluster. Everyone gets caught in right here. So people forget about Freeze. There was so much focus on Bjergsen since he ran straight through them that Freeze was just cleaning up the backline. And additionally, Freeze didn't have to start with Darian. Because of the awkward positioning of Gambit's inhibitor push, it was a strange initiation, and Darian couldn't lead the way.
Very, very close. Well, we talked about it. Gambit, when they pushed that bottom lane and then got turned around by NIP. The exact same thing happened in game 1. NIP lost that game. Have Gambit gone into the exact same problem that NIP suffered in game 1, or will they stick this one out? Dragon's going to get taken by Diamond.
Yeah, but at what cost? Because there's a Baron being ran at by NIP. And this game has remarkable parallels as well, with the misfortune being on Gambit's side, not nearly scaling at the level of Freeze, and being incapable of dueling him late in the game. This is now becoming very scary for Gambit to almost have the absolute reverse happen to them of what they did last game.
So Diamond now has himself a Guardian Angel, so he's completed those double chain vests he had pretty early on. Vest hasn't been turned into a Guardian Angel by Alex yet, still waiting to get some of that gold on there. Bjergsen was off on the side, split pushing there. Wasn't visible though, so Gambit didn't realize they could have pushed straight through there, maybe gone towards that inhibitor instead. They are much more cautious this time around.
They're not going to make that mistake again. They're really just hoping to get something around the Baron area, because after losing 3 fights in a row, you definitely lose your confidence, and for good reason. There's a reason they lost those last 3 fights in a row, because NIP is very competitive with them in those battles.
Voidal still an oracle, I don't believe. Kind of spotted out. Gambit are going to pick up the Dragon this time around. They keep the gold, 7,000 gold in their favor, but at 61 to 68, it's not such a great big advantage. It's stuck around that way for a long time. Darian is going to clear out that wave. NIP waiting to see if they can catch something in the bush. They're going to keep sweeping out those wards, and Gambit are going to see them doing it. Will we have the same happen again? No, they're not going to fall for it this time. They're not going to rush that mid.
No, because there's even more at risk. But Darian gets caught out. He's taken very low. Not very low. The heal from Alex was a giant chunk back for him. He's taken a little bit low.
Took a little bit, but look at all the Guardian Angels now, Jack. There is one on Darian, one on Diamond back up. Alex Itches is back up. Genja's actually almost come off cooldown. And yet there's only one Guardian Angel on the NIP, and that's still down.
I mean, this is something Gambit is known for. It's been debatable about whether this is actually a good choice for them in Season 3. This is a slightly new Guardian Angel on the 3.10 pack as well. Yes, they have the extra lives here, but if they don't have enough damage to actually get rid of Freeze, Freeze will just kill you twice because he's got consistent DPS.
So there's a big wave on the top and bottom pushing through at the moment. Somebody eventually will have to deal with those. And that may be what Gambit are waiting for. You can see Alex Itchy stealing away the red buff at the moment. He's going to have that coming into the next fight. He's got that brilliant pot glowing around him. And it is simply Gambit going to use his positional advantage. All the way is pushed up to get back in towards that Baron and clear it out, get some wards down. No, they're going to start it. Ooh, no.
This is super tense for them. Gambit's trying to make a quick decision. They had to make plenty in the last game. And with Freeze not there, it would have been a great time to go in, but they didn't know that in essence. And they're scared of maybe flanking in at exactly the right moment. With that monstrous mini wave at the bottom though, Gambit has every reason to at least pressure a team.
That turret is down to about a third hit point, maybe a quarter at best. There's a siege minion in there as well, so they're going to continue pushing on towards that tower. They're going to have to deal with it. It's Minor that's gone down there. Has he got time though? Because he's going to fuse on Stan United. He's turned back around.
This Baron is too fast. This Baron is going down way too fast. They're going to lose the turret anyway because he decided to go back up. And now Gambit has Baron. And can they catch them in a fight? They get a hop.
The death sentence on Baluna. He just gets dropped. No! He gets away. Just trying to use the dark flight away, but it's going to be Darian that catches on towards him. His passive is popped. Maluno's going to come back up there. The dark passage is not going to be able to be picked up. Instead, he's going to get dropped down. It's now 4v5. Diamond tries to chase back towards the Fisher, forces him away. There's still minions on the bottom, by the way. They're pushing up towards that inhibitor in that bottom lane. And Gambit suddenly gain every advantage.
And they can keep the pressure up here, even though they only got the 1 kill. They have the minions. Everything on NIP is getting pushed back.
That's going to be the inhibitor in the mid lane going down. They're going to rotate straight down to that bottom. Alex is going to keep on there. He's going to flash engage. Freeze just gets popped.
One shot from Alex. The Lich Bane does its work, and this might be enough. Bjergsen is still on the board. Gambit's going for the win.
They're going for the Nexus to it. Gambit Gaming already 1-0 up. They're looking to close out this game. Bjergsen's going to try and turn it around with the intervention. Will it get used on Diamond? No, he just eats the pop anyway. He's got the Guardian Angel. Roll Nexus comes out. The Nexus to it will go down. It's Gambit Gaming that will be facing Lemondogs in the semi-finals. The Ninjas in Pyjamas will be facing Ultimate as a part.
It also guarantees Gambit's spot in the Season 4 Spring Split. That was a split-second decision. Even though this was a 2-0, those were incredibly close games. And that pop that Alex put on Freeze at the end of the game was too fast for us to even catch.
Yeah, he just got melted in there. Ninjas in Pyjamas, well, they're going to have to talk through this one because Gambit are successful. It was a 2-0 for Gambit as well. A strong performance, but not convincing.
No, not convincing at all. Yes, they're going back to a lot of their Season 2 tendencies, which got them through to this point. Very good for them, and they have to, you have to be happy about this win. But that's still not the old dominating Gambit we're used to. They still have more work to do as this moves on. But man, exciting matches and an exciting ending.
Exciting ending indeed. What a fantastic match. So Gambit Gaming, are they back to their best? Who knows, of course.
Yeah.
Because the boot camps always seem to work for them.
It definitely helps them an absurd amount. Going from a couple days of practice to a week or 2 straight all together like that, especially as they're trying to work Voidolin to be more of a core member. Because even though they've added support since Edwards left, it's never had that time to soak. And they might actually be getting that here.
Well, of course, we will be going towards our analysis desk. We're going to go over to Joe and Kobe. They're going to try and break down that crazy long game once again.
Thanks a lot, guys, and honestly, crazy game was pretty much again right on the mark. Another really close one, actually kills by the end of it, ending up level completely. So let's go right back to the start, to the picks and bans again, because we saw heavy bans, surprisingly enough, coming towards Bjergsen again, but they left that Zed open.
This time, they were like, oh, well, he'll probably just go with the Talon if we ban out Zed as well. We'll leave that one up, and then Alex has the bright idea that he will counter it with Kale instead.
And we saw how effective that Kale was pretty much through the entire time. I mean, if we talk about First Blood, that of course did go over on towards Gambit. Nip, though, did manage to get some control back after that.
Yeah, so Gambit, after that great First Blood, went with a failed dive up top, and they paid for that one with kills. They actually had a repeat problem with those dives that cost them a lot of turrets. So NIP actually had a nice stretch of the game where they were in control, taking objectives sort of in the middle there.
So we also saw, how far ahead Alex was. I mean, I think he was level 18, Bjergsen was level 12 there or thereabouts, 13. And we had this 1v1 down in the bottom lane where Bjergsen said,
twice,
you know what, I'm just going to go for this one. Jumped in there, Alex actually turned it around, killed him before, before the Stad United could come in there for Shen. And then after that, which brings us into our replay actually, is that 1 versus 1 where Mima tried to take on Genja.
Right. So if we bring up the first clip here, or the only clip, this is just after Alex had 1 versus 1 Bjergsen, and this is why a lot of people think that Kale is a counter to Zed. And essentially, the ultimates do counter each other. The intervention right there is going to make it invulnerable, so he can avoid the deathmark damage, which is all that he needed to take out Bjergsen. This time, it was actually taking out Bjergsen through the Stand United. But now on the other side of the map, there's no vision here for NIP in their own jungle. So Mimir thinks he's doing a great thing by catching out Genja and setting him up for Freeze to take him out, but they actually have more Gambit members in the area, and he ends up baiting Freeze in. Let's roll this clip ahead, and we can see he does a good job getting Genja here if Genja didn't have any friends. He also is going to try and flash away late, but those auto attacks from minions finish him off anyway. And now, Freeze is the one in the bad spot. He's the AD carry between 3 members of Gambit. Genja gets off his nice bullet time and then flashes just before the knock-up there from Zyra, so he ends up getting away, and they turn just 1 kill on Bjergsen into 3 kills for Gambit.
So let's talk then a little bit further on into it, because we did see Gambit in a very similar situation to NIP in that last game, which was going in there underneath the turret thinking, okay, we're strong enough right now, but NIP turned it right back on them again.
So this was the weakness of Kale and how it's not a hard counter to Zed. 1 versus 1, it's great. You can use your invulnerability, don't take the damage from Deathmark. However, in a team game, you can get controlled with taunts or other CCs. They lock you down, you can't get off your ultimate. Alex got bursted from 100% to 0 in back-to-back team fights, which allowed NIP to get back in this game and almost claw their way to a victory.
So what did you think to the fact of Alex going the GA route than, let's say, a Quicksilver Sash route? I'm almost cheating because you posted on Twitter about this one as well, but surely that would have gotten rid of that.
So initially they were thinking, yeah, this team is all attack damage, we'll just stack armor. That's why Darien was just stacking armor straight from the beginning. You want to be a giant tank. Alex felt like, if I buy magic resist to make a Quicksilver Sash, that's kind of wussy here. This is a full attack damage team. I'll just go Guardian Angel. I feel like that's the Gambit t-shirt that will come out. It's like GA for life. They all, if they're getting a defensive item, that's what it is.
Yeah, and then we saw, again, positional decision making, I think we can say, from Gambit, pushing down mid lane when NIP were up there by the Baron.
Yeah.
Actually, that fight didn't really go too well for them because of the kind of weird position that they had going on there. Genja was at the back firing away with a bullet time, but they were able to lock out Alex again.
So when they finally were able to rush into that Baron, though, as long as they're on the same page and they can finish off the Baron before NIP arrived, then they finally got the last step that they needed to finish off the game.